All right, it's a Friday night, heading home from a soccer game from Cypress, Texas to downtown Houston. Figure it'd be a good time to talk about some relationship stuff so we can use this time to get better at our relationships with women, and but also relationship in general, right? So, and I've been doing that by using the dual mating strategy, saying you need to be the alpha bang or the alpha seed, and you don't want to be the beta male provider. I did a video earlier where the Diana Rossini debacle with Mike Vrabel, that right there is proving my point. Her poor husband, who, is getting no respect, or got no respect from her in public media. I know it's only media, but if you're the alpha Chad, she wasn't saying those things about Mike Vrabel, but anyway, so yeah. And I also use criminal cases to highlight things that you need to watch out for in relationships. Some of the really just stuff that we can look out to improve, right? And I've been using those criminal cases, and it kind of breaks into two categories. I noticed. The one is the man's the victim because he's a beta male provider, and and somebody's conspiring against him, and then he gets victimized and usually murdered. But the other side of it is the woman becomes the victim and loses her life when she's dealing with a beta male, right? And so those seem to be the two kind of cases I've been dealing with. And there's no more dangerous of a man than a beta male. Beta males are insecure, they're fearful, and when you are fearful, weak, and insecure, you're dangerous because you don't respond to people. You retaliate. It's what is it? You were like, but basically, responding is you hear something or you see a situation and you figure out how you want to deal with it. But like the scared dog or any scared animal, when it's hurt or whatever, it lashes out at you, right? When you try to get near it, because it feels vulnerable, right? Same thing with the beta male, right? Everything's good if they're getting their way. If their manipulations are working, if their indirect communication is allowing them to manipulate you or whatever, if their nice guy routine is working, if they've got control over the situation, they're great. They're great to be around. But, you never have 100% control over everything, right? So anyway, the criminal case we're going to talk about today is the Gloria Choi case. And this poor young lady was from immigrant from China. Her parents lived here. It was in Lakewood, Washington. In Pierce County, I don't know where that's at, but Washington State. Her boyfriend, Billy Rickman, was a total loser. I guess, we say, there's not a quote-unquote archetype for alpha Chad or alpha seed. The woman kind of, it's up to her. If she considers a guy an alpha bang or an alpha seed guy, then that he's alpha bang to her, right? And I think this guy was alpha bang to her because she put up with a lot. But Gloria Choi was working with her parents. They owned a hotel, not a real nice one. It was an OYO hotel. It wasn't bad. It was like a Motel 6 type, and they owned it, and she was the manager there. And their parents gave her an apartment, no charge to live at, while she, helped them run the family business, which was owning the OYO hotel. Well, it just so happens that Ricky Rickman is her boyfriend. He's staying at the hotel from California, and the reason he's staying there, Billy Rickman, sorry. The reason he's staying there is because he's a loser. And I don't think she noticed that, He didn't have I don't think he could get a house or whatever. He was a drug abuser. Cocaine was a drug he used. He was an alcoholic. And what else? He used marijuana. So he was drinking all the time, using cocaine. He even went to California to stay with some friends, because when him and Gloria broke up, and the relatives didn't even want him there. So that's the kind of guy he is. He burned all the bridges, right? He was using, so Gloria met him when he kept coming to the office, and he was bold. He entered action with boldness, Law 28, and he went up to her, and he thought she was beautiful, and she was. She was beautiful Asian, Chinese girl, soft-spoken, laid back, single mom, busting her butt, take care of business, paying the bills. She was very much just a nice young lady. And, she couldn't be more polar opposite than Billy Rickman. He was your drug abusing, prostitute, using, just hard life, man, but very much traumatic kind of guy, toxic, I guess it would be a better word. Just being in that lifestyle of all using the drugs and stuff like that. He was very angry type guy when he got drunk. He pushed her around a little bit, in the relationship. The parents and dads, see, this is a key thing too. Ladies and gentlemen, dads, but more ladies, but dads can tell when a dude's a loser, and dad did not like him. And dad actually told her, you need to get rid of this guy. He's not welcome in our hotel. He's not welcome in our family. But, she wouldn't get rid of him, which, again, that's why I was kind of saying he was the alpha bang guy, maybe. And he actually went to the dad, because he's a little beta male bitch. And he told the dad, you're not going to get rid of me. I'm going to keep dating your daughter, basically. And, you need to watch your ass, buddy. When he's living in the apartment given to his girlfriend by her parents, it's those type of guys. He's a I always say a dark triad. He's a narcissist, sociopathic, Machiavellianism. He's got those kind of traits, right? He's got no remorse, no empathy, me, injured, person, me mentally, just a sad piece of shit of a guy. He really was. But he was kind of stocky, Hispanic, wore a goatee. He looked kind of tough, looked like kind of a biker guy. I think that's what she liked about him. But he was a love bomber. When he first met Gloria, she's really beautiful, and she probably was, too good looking for him. And, he would send her texts like, you make me feel so good. I feel so secure when I'm around you. And that's bitch shit right there. His girl's making, validating his, confidence or whatever. He's using her to feel better, and that's not the way you need to operate. You need to already be, standing on your square, feeling strong, and then, the girl is just an add-on, right? But no, she was his everything. Without her, he felt like lesser of a man. At one point he sends, like, it was during Christmas time, and she was breaking up with him, and he sends like an Instagram reel. He's, hey everybody, it's Christmas time. I'm hanging out in the hotel parking lot because I lost my hotel room, and because she was paying the bills. When mom and dad, they told her, if you're staying with your boyfriend there, that loser, you can either move out of here at the hotel she was living at with her parents, or the one that they own, and or you can get rid of him. And she chose to move out, which is fine. wasn't drama. So they went and got it. Well, Gloria pretty much got the apartment and paid for it, and homeboy just mooshed off of her, But yeah, and at one point he was like, future faking and saying they're going to do all this stuff. And finally Gloria got tired of it and was like, I paid all the bills here. You don't work. You're a loser. I got a 7-year-old son to worry about, and I don't want him around your ass, And, so, but again, maybe the alpha bang, So, but, and that's when, she got rid of him, and, he's got no place to live now because she was his, provider, And at this point, though, when she breaks up with him, and that's the danger point in a lot of domestic violence relationships, is when you break up. And for her, it wasn't the key point, but it started getting things rolling. He ended up taking her truck and just not returning it for 3 days. I mean, he had no rights to that truck. They were breaking up, and she just wouldn't bring it back. I mean, that's the kind of guy he was. He's driving, was living in some, female's house. He was, driving her car and won't bring it back. real winner, and going out and drinking and doing cocaine and using marijuana. I mean, just just a loser, total loser, right? And but he was obsessed. He didn't want, he saw he was so insecure that Gloria was the only thing that made him feel good as far as who he was as a person. And when she broke up with him, it was like a huge blow to his ego. So he kept trying to get her back. He became a stalker. He was coming around her job and he put an air tag, I believe, in her car. He was tracking her. Just stuff like that. I mean, that's just, way overboard. Gloria wasn't really, out there partying or, dating a lot of guys. I mean, eventually, I think can't remember how long it was. It was a while. It was like a month or two, and, she was just slowly kind of dating a guy. You just met him, and, they went to a coffee shop, and, homeboy comes, in the parking lot, just hanging out, staring at him and stuff. She's all uncomfortable. And then they go, get some sushi, and they can't even eat it because she's like, that car keeps circling in the parking lot. I think that's, my ex-boyfriend, and the date's like, what? He's kind of like, I didn't sign up for this, but he was a nice guy, but they were just getting started on their date, and, or, meeting each other. And here's homeboy, following her, and it wasn't like they were seeing each other. She had every right to go on a date with another dude, so, but yeah, and then, but what he does, he's so mad, he's like, he sends her an email saying, oh, guess you moved on to another guy. Wow. Like, bro, get over it. I mean, that's just beta as hell, weakness, dude. And stalking her. I mean, that's just so weak. And women get disgusted by that, by the way. Anyway, he kept begging for her back, but once again, women get disgusted by that, But, yeah, so, and then, like, when she was on that date, I guess he found, he had an air tag in her car, but he found the other guy's car. I don't know how he knew, but he ended up stealing Gloria's book bag, and it had a laptop computer in it. He stole a laptop computer from the guy's car because the guy was parked at her job, which was a Holiday Inn. She was a manager there. After she left her parents' business because of the loser, she started working at the Holiday Inn. But yeah, so he steals both their computers, and he ends up popping the guy's tires. This guy's not even seen her yet. He just just got into the dating part. It's like first date. And homeboy's like throwing a fit. So the guy has, poor guy, brand new into this, he has 2 flat tires. But like I said before in another video, you gotta watch out what chicks got going on. They always have something going on, and but anyway, like I said, you gotta be careful, that crazy guy. Anyway, so they call the police come out and do a report. Excuse me. And but I think something happens to where, the guy, I think he goes to get new tires, but he leaves his Jeep, right? And he had a Jeep. And the loser guy that is, her ex-boyfriend, Billy Rickman, he pops the other 2 tires when they leave, and the police leave, And so the poor guy, like, he just now he's gonna buy a whole new set of tires, And he's not even, I don't even think he's banging the girl yet, right? But this is what a beta male will do, right? It's just, they're just so weak, But yeah, but he kept, and this was a short period of time, and he could not let it go. He could not, when he kept her truck, and the officers pulled him over in it to give it back to her because it was stolen. He was talking to the officers in the back of the cop car, and he was saying, oh man, if my girl would give me a chance, I'd stop doing all kinds of drugs. And he was just obsessed. I mean, just so weak, right? But it like I said, it became dangerous. Gloria was doing everything she could do. Well, one night she was going home from her job, the Holiday Inn. It's late at night, dark, and homeboy is, I guess, in the parking lot somewhere. She didn't know that, and so she's heading home for just a lunch break, and I think it was overnight shift. And he comes, and she's going down like a regular, not a freeway, but like 2-lane road or whatever. Well, he comes on the side of her and forces her off the roadway, and she has to to avoid getting hit by him. She has to veer off the roadway, and it kind of screws her up. Like, she's stuck. She gets stuck somehow. I mean, I think she just got scared or whatever. But well, when he pitches her, so what he does, he goes by her and he basically gives her no room, gets in front of her, as he's passing her. So now she can't go because his car's in front of her, right? Because it was a 2-lane road. Well, he gets right out of his car, and he's got, he's got a 40 caliber pistol in his hand, and he's there to do business. And I mean, by business, I mean, it's gonna be full on go to heaven time for her, and I can't say a better way. Totally ridiculous what he did. He's doing life sentence, in Washington State Prison. Thank God, he got charged. I mean, Gloria was such a cool young woman, and what's so funny is, a lot of guys out here, I know how many guys are struggling, and dude, this girl, just from what I heard and what, the brief, you can tell her demeanor, and she did the polar opposite of that jerk, and he was a loser. He never worked when they were together. It's not like, he was taking care of business and she just, monkey branched. No, and it wasn't, she finally got tired of him being a loser, but that does show that, if women like you enough, they'll put up with it, but not forever, But yeah, he comes up right to her driver's side door, walks up, like he said, he boxed her in. She kind of veered off the road. She called 911, and the 911 call is horrible. She's like, oh my God, he got forced off the road. She didn't know it was him at first. Then she sees him get out, and she's like, oh my God, he's got a gun. And he just comes right up to the driver's side door, beta male. See, beta male's losing control. Beta males are most dangerous when they've lost control. And he knew she was starting to date again, and this has happened in another case I'm about to cover. And, so if you guys got family members that are dealing with beta male or breaking up with a beta male, that's the most dangerous time. That's when y'all got to be, on your, on whatever, P's and Q's. I don't know if that's right. But anyway, just be on guard, because that's when the beta male is losing his scarcity mindset. Is like, oh my God, my right arm's being torn off because that's my girl. And if I can't have her, no one will. And that was, Ricky Rickman was doing everything he could, and Gloria was doing everything right, calling the police, letting them know she had a no contact order. I think a lot of states they call them protective order, but no contact order. He wasn't allowed to contact her, or wasn't supposed to be, but he was, and she was reporting it. Now the police should have probably done a little more, but I don't want to put it all on them. This guy was idiot, and he said so, but he didn't care. He did. That's how obsessed he was. He didn't care about the no contact order. He was such in love with her, right? And he's big manipulator, like, oh, I'll get better, oh, I won't drink anymore, blah, blah. That's a beta male. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear to get what they want, right? And so, he came up to her driver's side door. She had a truck. She locked the door. She's on the phone with 911. Help, 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 come, please. Oh, he's got a gun. And the guy just unloads 10 on the window. So he's pointing it out, it basically almost touching the window. You could see the holes. There was 10 holes. Well, there's actually 14. But so he does 10, at 40 caliber. That's a good little round there. That's that one of those gets you. I mean, that's what I used to carry with the police department. I had 22 years Houston Police Department. That's all we could carry is 40s. But I don't change to a 9. But anyway, but when she gets hit by the bullets, she lets go of the brake on her truck, and the truck just rolls and runs into a telephone pole. And so he kind of thinks that she's alive still. So he turns his U-turn. So nice of him. He U-turns his truck. He comes back to where she is. I mean, I think she was passing away at that time in the truck. But he, just to make sure, he comes back, as a good beta male will do, most dangerous guy. He pulls his truck alongside of hers, doesn't even get out of the truck, rolls down his window, puts 5 more shots on her, 14 shots, 10 of them hit her, And they worked on her. They tried. The police did a real good job, but they couldn't save her. She ended up passing away, unfortunately. Cool girl. My mom, a 7-year-old boy, just tragic. And that's why you gotta be careful of beta males, like I said, when he lost the control, that was it. So, like I said, guys, and again, this is a learning moment. And I've said it before: is you get your happiness or your sense of security of who you are from yourself, not from anybody else, because people can always leave you. If you need it, you can't rely on another person to make you feel whole or make you feel secure. So, that's what he did. He just a weak. I mean, not working, grown man, not working. I mean, he just a weak bitch. And he's in Washington State Prison for the rest of his life, as he should be. But like I said, Dad had noticed. Dad told his daughter, you can only do so much. But that's this case. The Gloria Choi case. He got love bombed by the guy, manipulator. Ladies, if any ladies watch this, don't, guys do not fall in love that fast, and guys are not they are romantics, but, guys like their freedom. If a guy's trying to lock you down too quick, that's a beta male. But again, it goes back to they're okay if they're getting their way, they're okay, when they're in control, but once they lose that control, and if they lose total control, that's when shit's gonna go off, right? So anyway, I'll leave it there on this one. We honor Gloria Choi. Guys, kill the beta before the beta kills you. Get that weakness out of you. Be the alpha Chad. Or alpha. You can't be alpha Chad all the time. Be the alpha bang. Be assertive. Be confident as calm. Be courageous. Have emotional control. Have strength. Have physical strength. Get to the gym. Those kind of things. That'll make you the alpha. That'll make you the alpha bang. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.